for in life. And the questions our brain is asking about the environment determine what we see. So this is where the nonstop exposure to vision boards start to come in. And a vision board is a collection of visual images which are understandable to the mammalian brain since there's no words there. And these things represent your desires and goals. If you're in your office, get a big ass TV and just go buy an iPad or something that you could just duct tape to the back of the TV and put a slideshow of all of these. This is like 900 images just on repeat forever. It just goes on and on and on. Even while you're sleeping, you're not even in the office, it's on there when you walk in, it's on when you walk out. You leave that on to maximize that level of exposure, getting that done really well. There's a million videos on how to make vision boards and stuff like that. So next on the list is authority. How are you going to leverage authority figures and social proof to ensure that your mammalian brain knows what you're doing is good, it's allowed, and it's very powerful? Now we move into tribe. This is about how can I involve my circle of friends in the achievement of all these new habits and beliefs. Get your friends and social circle very much involved. Make deals with them to keep you in check. Bring some accountability into the picture. Next, we get into emotion. How will I create the emotional attachments to this future self, my future self? One amazing way is to download one of those apps that makes you look really old and print those photos out. Hang them around your office, hang them around your house, put them on your bathroom mirror. Even you can set the photo as your phone or computer wallpaper. And this is done so that you develop a very visual and mammalian understanding and relationship with your future self. Because one of the huge problems is that people don't prioritize their future selves because it's hard to imagine. They can't see their future self. So we make this happen. This is also another entry point for your vision board. So the more imagery you have on there, the more powerful the emotion's going to start to seep into the mammalian brain, which is going to start changing your worldview and your life. The mammalian brain is where it's at, not the words and all this stuff with the human brain that we always hear about. So the 3 highest leverage new habits to adopt is the next step here. Right here, we're going to develop a deeply powerful list of the most impactful and meaningful new habits that can start and enable all the other things to happen, just like dominoes. Remember that starting a habit only requires discipline for a short period of time. Once it's a new
Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I am your host, Dan F. Man. You see, I'm in here already. I had got warmed up when I started at like 8. I'm trying to get some extra game time because, I've been playing the game since it came out. All my players about to be at 90 right now. I got a pretty good understanding of the game. I'm just trying to max out right now at this point. But with that being said, it's Healthy Mental Thursday, and to all my people out there that y'all know I care about and that I love y'all, please remember, you ain't gonna be here without your mind. You understand me? Let me say it one more time. You ain't gonna be here without your mind. You understand me? Let me say it one more time for you. You ain't gonna be here without your mind. You understand me? So, let's be happy. Let's be sad. Let's be sick. And let's be cured at the same time. So that's what the topic of today is: curing dis-ease. Now we ain't talking about disease. You know, like you got a nigga got a disease. We ain't talking about disease. We talking about dis-ease, like the opposite of being at ease. Now we all know that tension is good at sometimes. Like when I'm ironing the clothes on the ironing board, I gotta pull the shirt out or the pants out. I gotta get that tension. You know what I'm saying? Iron that thing. But when you already stretch to the max, what's gonna happen when you stretch some more? Tear, rip. You know, it's simple. So we gonna fix that disease. Disease. Using my lip. Disease today. You got disease. All right, my bad. All right, we're gonna fix that though today as best we can. It's Healthy Mental Thursday, so let me put my keyboard down and let's get to work. All right. Now I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, give my little more motivation, but motivation for the day. I said Zay. All right. Let's get it started, y'all. Let's go. We got 8 minutes. We got 4 minutes. I seen these numbers earlier today. Let's get it popping. If we heard this one before, though, I'm going to switch it.
Step into Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises. Kick off project.
Instead of jumping out of bed and rushing right into the stress of what you need to do, breathe. Take a moment to eliminate the stress and realign your mind, body, and brain with the joy that does live inside you. You get to choose if your day is going to be like every other day or if it's going to be a great day. And you decide first thing in the morning by giving yourself that time to realign your brain to positivity, to redirect your mind to what is good in your life. What is good in your life right now? Take a moment to think about it.
Start your day with intention. Today, I will be present. Today, I will be kind. Today, I will be the example I expect of others. Today, I will give my all in every moment.
It's all about intention. When you direct your focus to the good, you will see more good. If your focus is directed to the stress and struggle, you will see more stress and struggle.
If you want to be really happy, give thanks. That's the secret. Happy people are grateful people. So spend time in gratitude. Spend time in intention and expectation for what a great day today is going to be. Feed your mind with something positive. Read or listen to something uplifting. Something that will grow your mind or spirit.
You attract your intentions. You attract your beliefs. You attract what you feel. So get up and feel good. When you direct your focus to the good, you will see more good. If your focus is directed to the stress and struggle, you will see more stress and struggle. That is your only job. Get up and get yourself feeling amazing. Ask yourself, how can I feel great today? How can I grow today? How can I make others feel great today? Open your eyes to the magic around you. I guarantee you, you have been missing out on miracles because you have been lost in the stress and noise inside your head. Get out of your head and get into the magic of life.
Today is a new day, a fresh, clean canvas. You can paint whatever you want on that canvas. No matter what happens. You are the artist. Add some color, some joy, some life to your canvas. Leave nothing off that canvas.
As soon as you get up in the morning, ask yourself, what's really important today? Is it important that I rush around stressed at everything I have to get done? Or can I just enjoy this moment? Can I set the tone for the rest of my day? You decide what kind of day you will have. Not what happens, but how you will respond to everything that happens. You can respond positively to any situation. Will you respond with presence? Will you see the good? Will you find a way around the obstacles? Will you write your own story, or will life write it for you?
Let's go. Talk to him. That's my guy. He talked to y'all real quick. Can't even be mad at him. You feel me? Look, the composer is Daniel K. That's my guy too. You understand? Now that one ain't set me on fire. I ain't on fire yet. It was alright though. Let's listen to this one, and we gonna fast forward a little bit into it.
The new GoDaddy Arrow
Matter
has
of fact,
AI marketing tools
It's
to help
9:07. We good. We got enough time. Y'all listen to good 9 minutes.
You have to understand, if you don't execute on the plan, if you don't get up in the morning when you're feeling tired, scared, if you don't execute, you're not just cheating yourself. You're cheating your family. You're cheating your employees. You're cheating your team. Whatever you're a part of, it's bigger than you, man.
Hard work works, y'all. See, some of you have dreams and goals, but hard work, you can't get around it. I wish there was a magic wand that I could wave, that your passion, your dream, that thing you want to achieve, it could just happen, but it can't. Hard work is required.
What do you do?
That's my guy. I
when
knew he was
1,000
coming up.
Other people want exactly what you want.
Right.
What if you're not the only one that wants what you want? What if there are thousands of other people who want what you want? You have to outwork them. You gotta outgrind them. You gotta get up earlier. You gotta stay up later. You gotta execute, and you gotta go from 7 to 120.
I think a lot of people feel this enormous pressure to achieve this millionaire, billionaire status somewhere in your 20s, 30s, 40s. It is very difficult. It is for very few and far between. I hope everybody understands, if you put in 18 hours a day, every day of your life, and you suck shit, you lost. You know why I'm sitting here right now? Because I outworked you. Zoom in. I outworked you.
That's my guy.
I outworked you. Every day of your life, and you suck shit, you lost. You know why I'm sitting here right now? Because I outworked you. Zoom in. I outworked you.
Yes, sir.
Before I ever stood on a stage,
That's
I
my
cleaned
man.
one at an old Baptist church. When everybody left, I stayed vacuuming when nobody was there. That's how I got
Right.
the microphone. I didn't get a microphone because I can talk the best. I didn't get a microphone because I can sing the best. I got a microphone because serving kept elevating me everywhere of my life.
Yes.
Because we all think that
fire,
we pray on it,
fire,
if we do this,
fire
if we do
now.
that, whatever. We don't work.
Let's get it.
We just, whatever, it's going to magically happen for us. No. I
Gotta
believe
change something.
that when I'm all said and done with, my whole job is to outwork the charts.
Let's go.
Got to keep putting in the work. Every day. One is better than zero. Got to keep putting in the work. Putting in the work. Putting in the work. The hard work
Every
matters,
day.
and
Let's
the
work.
patience is what overrides it.
You gotta
Every
work.
breath.
What happens if you
Breathe,
wake
boy,
up
I'm
30
working,
days later and you there?
Works
What
on
happens if you
never
wake up
be off.
60
Boy,
days
my
later
name
and the
ain't.
change is coming? You know what's gonna happen?
my
You're gonna
voice.
wake up 60 days later, 90 days later, and everything's gonna change but you. And you're gonna get the same results you got before it happened because you're the exact same person. So work while you wait. You cannot stop.
We all have greatness. It just, you gotta find the courage. You gotta find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. And to find it because it's out there, but it's gonna take hard work, courage, self-discipline. It's gonna take all the non-cognitive skills. All the non-cognitive skills to be great. You know, smart is good, all this stuff is good, that's all cognitive. It's the non-cognitive skills that set you apart from everybody else.
Rebounding. Get the rebound.
And that's what it's all about.
That shot when nobody need the rebound. Anybody else getting the rebound?
Now, I don't know what your goal is, but I want you to visualize it right now. And repeat after me with power and conviction. Let us say together, it's possible. Together, please. Say it again, please. See, that's the first step. I want you to think about this goal that you want. I want you to envision it and see it in your mind's eye. And every day, say to yourself that it's possible. See, most people are not accumulating wealth. Most people are living in poverty. Most people are living far below their potential, not because they don't have the capacity, not because they have not been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, but most people are living like they're living because of the fact that they don't believe they can have any more than what they now have.
Listen to me very clearly. Every A is not an A. I don't care how much you can jump on Google and get the answer and get your report card or your grade sheet or your teachers or your school to think that you're getting an A. If you're cutting corners, if you're taking shortcuts, every A is not an A. You're not robbing anybody else
But
but you.
you, let me take that. Let me take a little taste of that off.
So I need you to work while you wait. I need you to work. Look, work on your focus, perspective. I need you to see difficult differently. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? I need you to see it differently.
God. Who could have thought
You know,
of that,
5
man?
steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. You read my book, this is hard work. It's every day.
There's so many people who want to lead that can't follow. I'm saying this because everybody wants to get to the top. If you're trying to get on top, I need you to work the level you're on right now. Can you clean bathrooms? Can you sing for the kids? Maybe singing for the kids might be the thing that gets the whole world knowing your name. But because you think it's small and insignificant, you won't even do it.
Just keep working. If you were told you were going to get that promotion, just keep working. If you were told you was going to win that championship, just keep working. Nobody said it would be easy. Again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So I need you to work on your faith. I need you to work on your faith. I need you to wake up every day and say, today ain't the day, but my day coming. And I will not give up, and I will not give in until I get to that day. I will not stop. I will not give up. I will not give in until my day comes.
You have enough right now to flip this world upside down. You have enough. You got enough power. You got enough anointing. You got enough grace. You got enough patience. You got enough gifting to make your money, get out of debt, get yourself together, and change everything about your world.
Hey, look, let go. Hey. All right, back to the message. Maybe that's where we should stop at. So listen. I want to start today off by asking a question for your mind. How do you know you forgot something? How does the function of forgetting work? That's the question right there. We can cure one dis-ease today. Maybe we do 3 weeks of this, you know. This is the first week back. I think this is the first week back, right? And we can do this next week too, but that's the question. What is the function of that system that we call forgetting? I want to break it down for a quick second. So, in order to forget something, you gotta know about it. You gotta have once had it, so to speak, right? I think this can wake something up inside of you if you follow what I'm saying. You have to have once had it, and you can recall it at any time. Let's be honest. Let's be as open as we can with this. You can recall it at any time. If you've forgotten it, like, let's say forgotten as in I went here and forgot my keys. I went here and forgot my wallet. All right? Now, I can recall my wallet at any time, and it's going to be back with me. It's going to be back with me. I can recall anything, and it's going to be back with me right here. The catch to it is that it's not in the dimension that I want, the state that I want, in my hands like I want, right in my pocket like I want, on the vibrational frequency wavelength like I want. Because it's not in my hands. It's not in my pocket. I'm here and it's there. So when I was there, I forgot to grab it to bring it here. So that's how the system works. But I can recall it and have it with me at any time because I once had it. Now that ain't gonna magically put some money in your hands that you lost down the street. That's the funny part, right? But there's a world that I know about called Harry Potter and the wizarding world, and they got this thing that they do. It's called Accio, and they be like Accio, and it's like a play on acquire, like you acquired something. So Accio, whatever, I forgot my wallet, Accio wallet. Oh man, I'm out here, Accio wallet, and it's just right there, boop, in my hands. I ain't got to worry about it no more. So imagine that. Imagine eliminating the system of forgetfulness, at least in the essence of physical things. I can just recall it, boop, and it's here with me, Accio. But we can't do that. So my emphasis is on, how do you forget? How do you know you forgot something? Because you once had it. So let's use that to open up a pathway. To open up a pathway to all of our lost treasures. The socks from the dryer, the money you dropped, your wallet, your keys, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, everything you lost. Right now, right here on Expansion Pack, I'm going to cure your disease, your dis-ease of that, by telling you, yes, you can recall anything your mind allows you to access, anything that you have lost. And if you've forgotten what you've lost, all you have to do is ponder the system of forgetting, because you once had it, and everything will come flooding out like a room full of treasure. I promise you. You follow one line and you'll get on to another line. But remember, I don't know how to bring it from wherever it is in here to in your hand. You figure that out and you holla at me back. All right, we're going to move on from that. I have to ask that question because it helps to make you a little bit more healthy when you can recall positive or find lost positive experiences that made you feel great and that reminds you that you are great. Hey, I feel like shit right now though. I might have to recall 10 of them situations because where I'm at right now ain't kicking, clicking, or doing for me. But hey, I gave myself a tool. The present moment is something else. All right, y'all, let me stop talking to y'all about that, and let's see what we can do about dis-ease. That's a group. I didn't know that. Let's get it.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every week. Done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor. Fresh
balance. Okay, so what are the emotions that are connected to the stress hormones? It's anger, it's hatred, it's frustration.
We might can't watch Dr. Joe. Let's see what's up real quick. All right, yeah, we can. Let's holler at my
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. Recently, I went to the hand doctor because my hand isn't working totally perfectly, and he was like, "Hey, do you remember when we talked about you not signing your name so much, and then you
ideas
copies of your book, The Anthropocene Reviewed?" And I was like, "Yeah, but that was for work, doc." And the doctor was like, "Was it for work?" And I was like, "Look, doc, the heart wants what it wants." Anyway, long story short, I have a few problems, but one of them is arthritis, which is terrible news, but does have a silver lining, which is that I get to add to my catalog of itises. I'm a heavily itised person. Like, over the years, I have had orbital cellulitis and eosinophilic esophagitis and viral meningitis, not to mention the normal itises, sinusitis, gastritis. Heavily itised person. Like, over the years, I have had orbital log of itis. itises. I'm a heavily but does have a silver lining, which is that I get to add to my catalog of itises. I'm a heavily itised person, like over the years I have or have had orbital cellulitis and eosinophilic esophagitis and viral meningitis, not to mention the normal itises, sinusitis, gastritis, esophagitis person, like over the years I have or have had orbital cellulitis and eosinophilic esophagitis and viral meningitis, not to mention the normal itises, sinusitis, gastritis, etc. But in this respect, I am of course not unique in that catalog of itises. I'm a heavily itised person, like over the years I have or have had orbital cellulitis and eosinophilic esophagitis and viral meningitis, not to mention the normal itises, sinusitis, gastritis, etc. But in this respect, I am of course not unique. In our lives, most of us will become extensively familiar with itises because we have been invited to a very strange party where you get to have a consciousness, but it's made out of meat. Sometimes people ask me why I write so much about illness and disease and our historical responses to them. Eosinophilic esophagitis and viral meningitis, not to mention the normal itises, sinusitis, gastritis, etc. But in this respect, I am of course not unique. In our lives, most of us will become extensively familiar with itises because we have been invited to a very strange party where you get to have a consciousness, but it's made out of meat. Sometimes people ask me why I write so much about illness and disease and our historical responses to them, and I guess my question would be, why isn't everyone writing about it? As Virginia Woolf, and I guess my question would be much about illness and disease and our historical responses to them, and I guess my question would be, why isn't everyone writing about it? As Virginia Woolf wrote 120 years ago, considering how common illness is, how tremendous the spiritual change it brings, it becomes strange indeed that illness has not taken its place with love and battle and jealousy among the prime themes of literature. And not just in literature, historical narratives also tend to focus on kings and wars and political philosophies and whatnot, but disease is a terribly important historical force, maybe the most important one. Like, it's almost certain that in the last 2,000 years, more people died just from tuberculosis than died from all wars combined. And before you think like, oh, but that's ancient history, no, more people died last year from tuberculosis than
Hey, you got the facts.
Died in war, and every year going back to World War II. Around 93% of all humans die from disease, a phenomenon so common that we attribute these deaths to natural causes, although for the record there is nothing natural about the fact that people die of cholera in Haiti but not in the United States, or the fact that poor people in the United States are almost twice as likely to develop heart disease as rich people. And so I write about disease and our responses to it, from OCD and turtles all the way down to plague and the Anthropocene Reviewed, because there is this terrible and strange circumscriber of consciousness, and I don't think we're talking enough about it. And also the way we talk about it matters. Like, let me give you a weird example. I think we're talking...
Listen, my man's is stressed about this. Look at his hair now. Look at his hair then. Look at his hair now. Look at his hair then. Bruh, I feel you. I must type a comment now. I will dedicate 10 minutes a day for the rest of my life to helping fight dis-ease. Dis-ease. Because of you. Because of this video. Thank you, Sir Dan. Yes. Continue.
Means inflammation. And so the way we circumscriber of consciousness, and I don't think we're talking enough about it. And in turtles all the way down to plague and the Anthropocene Reviewed, because there is this terrible and strange circumscriber of consciousness, and I don't think we're talking enough about it. And also the way we talk about it matters. Like, let me give you a weird example. Itis means inflammation. And so as a suffix, itis refers not to the bacterial or viral infection itself, but to the body's attempt to deal with that infection, or in the case of autoimmune diseases like esophagitis, the body mistaking healthy cells as threats. And this is really really interesting to me for somewhat personal reasons. Like, I got orbital cellulitis because bacteria invaded the soft tissue between my eye and my brain and then began spreading out of control. But the name orbital cellulitis doesn't translate to, like, staph invaded your eye socket. It translates to your own white blood cells caused swelling behind your eye. In this and many other ways, we tend to describe disease and illness as failures or insufficiencies of the body rather than literally inevitable side effects of having a body. And so even in these extremely subtle ways, we are prone to imagining disease as a failure of oneself, a failure of one's biology or life circumstances or moral choices. And so I think examining the ways we imagine and understand illness can be really productive, especially in a world where so much illness is not really caused by bacteria or viruses. It's caused by poverty and lack of access to clean water and other human-built systems. And I guess in that sense, our habit of imagining disease as primarily being about human choice is justified, not because individuals are responsible for their illnesses, but because our collective choices are. Hank, I'll see you on Friday.
That's my guy, hey. I want to be like him in the sense that his passion is for us all. Let me say again, in that video, his passion is for us all. You had a disease, I had a disease, he got the cephalotitis and the bitis and the bees, and I got all of the D's and the B's and the C's. And he's fighting it. Like I said, I'm going to spend 10 minutes a day, every day from now on, trying to help fight disease. That's my man's. All right, we back at it. Let's go. Fighting disease. Mental disease. Psych to go, got it.
Have you been feeling different than your usual?
We don't want to see the signs of battling mental illness. We want to fix. You know what I'm saying? Let's get my man's head.
Okay, so let's go back to the complexity problem. See, I actually think it's in some sense, it's the fundamental problem. When you read about the terror management theorist types, they think that death is the fundamental problem. And that's a good argument because it's definitely a fundamental problem, but I think it's a subset of the complexity problem. And the reason I think that is because sometimes people's lives become so complex that they'd rather be dead. And the reason they seek death through suicide is to make the complexity go away, because complexity causes suffering if it's uncontrolled. You know, things just get beyond your control. And that can happen, you know, if you're hit by 3 or 4 catastrophes at the same time. You know, maybe you have, the political system collapses, there's hyperinflation, you lose your job and you have someone that you love or 2 people die and maybe you get cancer, something like that. Like that, those things happen to people and they just think, well, there's no getting out of this, like it's just too much. And you know, one of the things that's very interesting about being a psychologist is that what you learn if you're going to be a psychologist is that people come to you with mental illnesses, and that's almost never true. People come to you because their lives are so damn complicated they cannot stay on top of them in any way that doesn't make it look like they're just going to get more complicated. And so then that causes symptoms, you know, it's like, there's this old idea, it's sort of a metaphor for genetic susceptibility. Take a balloon and blow it up until it's beyond its tolerance, it's going to blow out at the weakest point. Well, that's sort of what a genetic susceptibility is. If I just keep adding genetic susceptibility,
sorry y'all, sometimes if you're watching, sometimes it's like it's overwhelming for me to listen to it without saying these words, some words. Damn.
doesn't make it look like they're just going to get more complicated. And so then that causes symptoms, you know. It's like, there's this old idea, it's sort of a metaphor for genetic susceptibility. Take a balloon and blow it up until it's beyond its tolerance, it's going to blow out at the weakest point. Well, that's sort of what a genetic susceptibility is. If I just keep adding complexity on top of you, at some point you'll blow out at your weakest point. You know, maybe you'll get physiologically ill, maybe you'll start drinking, maybe you'll develop an anxiety disorder, maybe you'll get OCD, maybe you'll get depressed, whatever. There'll be something about you that's the weakest point, and if I just push, that's where you'll blow out. So that's a mental illness, but those things almost never just happen. Sometimes, but not very often. Usually people have just been hammered like 2 or 3 different ways, and then they collapse in the direction of their biological weakness, and then maybe you put them back together, but it's almost always a complexity-related phenomena rather than a mental illness-related phenomena. Not always, but almost always.
That's my man. So let's look at this. The complexity, and first of all, let me add that to the rotation. You feel me? Of videos. I will subscribe to that and like that. So let's see. The complexity issue. I spelled
What?
Issue wrong. I think I'm looking at the right thing. Hold on. Complexity theory. Let's see. I think this is what he was talking about.
Big ideas.
That's tough.
In this video, we will be giving an overview to the area of complexity theory by looking at the major theoretical frameworks that are considered to form part of it and contribute to the study of complex systems. Complexity theory is a set of theoretical frameworks used for modeling and analyzing complex systems within a variety of domains. Complexity has proven to be a fundamental feature of our universe.
Hold on. This ain't what I'm looking for. Yeah, this not what he was mentioning. So
Okay, so let's go back to the complexity problem.
The complexity.
See, I actually think in some sense, it's the fundamental problem. When you read about the
I think this is the same. Let's see, hold on.
Okay, so let's go back to the
yeah. So let's see what he talks
I made this little diagram. I made this little diagram here to kind of give you a sense of what you might be doing when you're abstracting perceptually. And so you could say, think about something that's that complicated. It's sort of my model of how complex the world is, but the world is a lot more complex than that. But the world is made out of, everything is made out of littler things, and those littler things are made out of littler things, and so forth. And those things are nested inside bigger things, and so forth. And where you perceive on that level of abstraction is somewhat arbitrary. It has to be bounded by your goals. That's the other thing, is that your perceptual structures are determined by the goals that you have at hand. I mean, some of that's not completely true, because your perceptual systems also have limitations, right? There's things you can't see or hear even if you need to. Right. So there are limitations built in, but within that set of limitations, you're still trying to tune your perceptions to your motivated goals. And that's also very useful to think about when you're trying to understand artificial intelligence, because for human beings, without goals, there's no perception, because there's no filtering mechanism that you can use to determine the level of resolution at which you perceive. Anyway, so there's a thing made of smaller things which are made out of smaller things, and it's kind of my iconic representation of the complexity of the world. And then you could think, well, what is this? How can you see this object? And I think if you just look at it, you can detect, it's like a Necker cube, you know, those cubes that are line drawings that you can see the front of and then it'll flip to the back. Have you seen those? So this is kind of Necker cube-like, or at least it is for me, in that when I look at it, my perceptions play around with it. Sometimes I focus on the kind of cross-like shape in the middle, and sometimes I can see these other lines, and then sometimes I'll focus on that square, and sometimes I can see the little dots there, or maybe one dot, and my perceptions are going like this, trying to fit a pattern to it. And you can kind of detect that when you're watching it. And so I would say, well, you have the options of perceiving this in its full complexity, or you can simplify it. Essentially, there's lots of ways you can simplify it, but some of them are laid out there. So you take the complex thing, you make a low resolution representation of it. So that's the rough area that all those dots occupy. That's the rough area broken down to its 4 most fundamental quadrants. That might...
What I'm trying to get him to say for y'all, because I don't want to bore y'all to death, what I'm trying to get him to say for y'all is how we, Jordan Peterson on Solutions for Very... There we go. Hold on.
Okay, so you see, you don't see irrelevant things.
There you go.
That's most things. You do see things that move you forward, and you do see things that get in your way. And in the class of things that get in your way are indeterminate occurrences, novel or anomalous occurrences. And almost everything that gets in your way is in some sense a novel occurrence, because you usually structure your behavior so that you don't go anywhere where something wildly anomalous is likely to occur. So if you encountered an obstacle, 2 things happen at the same time, and one is that your movement forward to your specific goal or sets of goals is blocked. But the second thing that happens is you're faced with a mystery, and the mystery is this thing wasn't supposed to exist, but it does exist. So what implication does that have for everything I think? And that's very, very hard on people. They do not like that at all, and no wonder, because it's
right.
It's the constrained chaos that's underneath everything, inhibited by your contextual knowledge, that suddenly popped its head up into your world.
Like, I didn't know that this could happen to me. I never thought it could be this way. And then all of a sudden, it is.
It's like the shark in the movie Jaws, which is of course a mythological story. It's exactly that, and it's exactly what that movie signified. A safe vacation paradise, all of a sudden threatened by some subterranean thing that can pull you down and that destroys the peace and the harmony of that particular community. It's a dragon story. It's a hero myth. It's the story that people have been telling forever. So and what you can think of that thing that reemerges, that shark that rises up from the depths, or that whale, or that dragon, or that predator, or the foreign invader for that matter, or the barbarian. They all fit into the same category. That's what had been deemed irrelevant suddenly manifesting itself. And when you think about how much is deemed irrelevant, the fact that it suddenly manifests itself, that's exactly the purpose, for the reason for the trauma. It's like, well, I've eradicated from my conceptualizations 99.99% of everything. It's zeroed out. And all of a sudden I've made a mistake. Bang, I don't know where I am. Well, what's relevant when you don't know where you are? And the answer to that is, since you don't know, everything is relevant. And you can imagine the sort of terror that people who experience paranoid schizophrenia are living in perennially, because what happens to them is precisely that. They undergo neurophysiological transformations that makes everything that they once depended on disappear, and everything comes back as relevant. And that puts them in the early stages of schizophrenia. That's extraordinarily stressful neurophysiologically. So they're overwhelmed with cortisol, and their brains deteriorate as a consequence of that. It's just too much. So, and unsurprisingly, right? Because
basically, like, you looking around, and it's like, wow, I don't know if this, I can trust that. I don't know if I could go here. I just, and that overstimulation, whereas you can pretty much say, hey, nothing's going to happen to me if you sitting still, like we usually have on. We got that mode on all the time. If that mode is absent, it could be the destruction and demise of you without having control over it.
You can hardly deal with anything, let alone with everything. Now, and often what you see, and it's rarely conceptualized this way in the training of clinical therapists, but often what you see when you are dealing with people who are in crisis isn't people who have a mental illness. In fact, in my experience, that's actually quite rare. What's far more common is that the person that you're talking to has become overwhelmed by catastrophe. So their life has fallen apart in some way that makes what they're doing actually impossible. You know, so maybe someone very close to them in their family that they were depending on has developed a very serious illness, and that's thrown their entire financial state into utter chaos. Or maybe they've developed a condition that makes it impossible for them to work. Or, you know, you can imagine the potential range of catastrophes. And they're coming to see you because they're anxious and depressed. But the reason they're anxious and depressed is because everything they have ignored has popped its head back up and is hell-bent on their destruction. And often you see people who are being attacked by 5 or 6 of these monsters at the same time. And it isn't their mental illness that stops them from being able to deal with it, although that, you know, whatever weaknesses you have are going to interfere. It's the fact that what they're facing is no damn joke, and if you were facing it, you'd feel exactly the same way. So then you're trying to come up with practical solutions to these tremendously complex problems. And that's a very, well, it's extraordinarily difficult, generally speaking. People often don't come to a therapist until they've exhausted their entire range of resources. They cannot figure out what to do. And so, you know, in a situation like that, you can administer antidepressants, and maybe that'll help the person increase their stress resistance. But and it may be that because they're depressed and have been brought down, that they are in fact exaggerating the danger of some of the smaller monsters that are after them. But making the person more stress resilient doesn't give them, for example, a new job, and it certainly doesn't bring back the person they've been living with for 2 years who has a degenerating neurological disease or some form of cancer. Like, these things are major. You know, I often see people who, well, they're in a relationship, maybe they're rather isolated, older people. One of the partners is dying and their entire financial situation has become catastrophic. It's like, that's not a mental illness, man. I mean, they may have got into that situation because of one inadequacy or another, but you don't even want to push that too far, because that sort of thing can happen to anyone, and will, in fact, happen to most people in one form or another, at least at some point in their lives. So you want to be damn prepared for that. You want to be prepared for that, because it's bitter and harsh and anxiety-provoking and painful. But if you're not ready, then it's also hell. And often you can stop things from becoming hell, even though you can't stop them from being bitter and painful and anxiety-provoking and all of that. You can at least delimit the catastrophe enough so that it doesn't permanently bring you and the people around you down. And that's not so bad, right? That's a hell, or at least it's a lot better than the alternative. So this is the problem, you know. Things object, things are obstacles. Well, how big is the obstacle? It's the same question as how big is the predator that's lurking outside the door of our cave. It's exactly the same problem, except conceptualized abstractly, and I would say exactly the same systems that your distant ancestors used to conceptualize the lurking predator are the systems that are activated now when you encounter the reemergence of all the monsters that you've ignored. It's the same neurological platform. You think, well, how could it be otherwise? Because evolution is a conservative process. Everything about you is built on ancient foundations, right? Very little new, certainly very little radically new, comes into existence. It's mostly tinkering with structures that have been around forever, like your body plan, for example. That's unbelievably old. I mean, you share that with lizards, roughly speaking. So it's incredibly ancient.
So I don't know how much of that resonates.
We're having a conversation.
I don't know how much of that resonates with y'all. I don't know how much of that y'all took away from what he was saying. But let me give y'all what I'm saying to you. You ain't got no problems as far as your health, okay? Unless you have health problems, okay? You're fine until you run into those health problems. That's kind of like being in last place until you need to win. So I want you to keep that analogy alive right there in terms of a race. Being in last place until the last lap could work with you, it could work against you, depending on what kind of race it is. Well, let's call the race your health. All right? And you don't typically want to finish last when it comes to your health. You want to finish first. And finishing first looks like preventative stuff. Preventative. you get out ahead of it. You feel it, you get out ahead of it, you try to understand it. But we all not doctors, and that's a good thing, to be honest with you, because you don't want to, in terms of your body or your health, you don't want to doctor anything. You want to heal. And I know for a fact that we all have the capability of healing. Now, fixing your problems with your pockets, your job, your whatever, I can't advise you on that without advising you on how to heal first. And those are real problems, just like he said in the, let me see what his name is. I don't want to misquote. Professor Jordan Peterson. That's what he's saying. Those are real problems. If you losing your job, if you not able to pay the bills, those real problems. It ain't gonna bring you no comfort. It ain't gonna make you better in the sense of trying to heal. You may have to take a little bit more hurt and discomfort in order to heal yourself. In the terms of, if you were to, that's nasty, lose a limb, it's best to cauterize the wound if there's no immediate reattachment. It's better to stitch up an open cut than to leave it open or try to put a band-aid on it, because it's going to cause you hell. You understand? And that's what he's saying. It's going to cause you hell. And having those real problems, real situations that pop up in your life are going to cause you some sort of discomfort or pain or trauma or whatever. Yes, it is, and it's very real, but it's not an illness itself. All right, there we go, my people. Y'all, we here. Oh, my bad. All right, now let me see something. Now, I feel like if you want to start anywhere, let's start here. How to make more money using my mind. Because that's a disease. That's a dis-ease. It don't make you comfortable. Having no money make you uncomfortable. So that's a disease. It's dis-ease. It's opposite of ease. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna ease when you ain't got no cheese. We ain't got 22 minutes, my guy. We give you 10.
To buy.
We gonna get it.
There are 101 ways that you could get clients for your agency, coaching, or consulting business. But
in this video, if you are incapable of doing it, be better. And do it for long enough that it would be unreasonable for you not to be good. And then your best will surpass what is required. And you will become better in the process. But if you don't do that, it's an excellent way to stay poor. It's just keep doing your best and giving yourself a pat on the back and say, I tried. 20, talk more, do less. Post about your goals, post about your affirmations, spend all day doing routines and stuff of getting prepared to work and actually do very little. All right, it's a great way. This is one of the favorite ones, especially in the internet community. People love talking about how much they're working rather than actually getting shit done.
Right.
So I would advise you to, rather than spend all this time preparing to work and creating superstitions and routines around the things that you think you should do in order to maybe potentially get something done, start with the doing. Because sometimes the doing just needs done. All right? 21. Start something new today. Start something new tomorrow. Repeat. Great way to stay poor. Do stuff. Try something else, try something else, try something else. Always leave half-built bridges, right? You never complete anything you start. Just keep starting new things because it's exciting and it's new, and you have what is called uninformed optimism. Because as soon as you jump into the new thing, you realize that it will take work, and the things that were awesome about it also have downsides, which is the work that is required to be good. And as soon as you realize that it's work, you go through the change cycle. You go uninformed optimism to informed pessimism. And then you go through the valley of despair, and this is where everyone then jumps to the next opportunity. And they just do this forever, and they just never achieve what they want. So it's an excellent way to stay busy and poor, all right? Just keep trying new stuff and never see anything through, okay? Number 22, believe what other people think about you more than what you think about you, all right? It's a great way to stay poor. I think it's just, it's easily stated there, so I'm not gonna belabor the point, but that's what you need to do to stay poor. Just keep believing what everyone else thinks about you and not what you think about you. Excellent way to do it. Number 23, way to stay poor. Make a mistake, then wait, repeat the mistake. Do it again and again and again.
He talking about ways
you've probably
to be
seen
poor.
people who
Hold up, let's get past that. Hold up.
see the more you can do it, the more you can outspend your income, the poorer you will be. And so
Okay, we ain't gonna listen to no more. He talking about ways to be poor. In which, we don't want to hear that. Hey, what you got to say, Mike?
When you came out of prison, you looked better after prison than you did before going in.
I had the best 3 years of my life in prison.
Wow. That's interesting for you to say that, bro, because you had millions.
I had peace, though.
Over the $30 million for one fight.
Listen, can I tell you something? That don't mean nothing when you don't have your peace, your stability, and your balance. We don't even want it. You want to give it to somebody else. You need your sanity to dictate any part of life. I always tell people, God punish you by giving you everything you want. See if you can handle it.
When you came out of prison, you looked better
We need to hear that again.
after prison than you did before going in.
I had the best 3 years of my life in prison.
Wow. That's interesting for you to say that, bro, because you had millions.
I had peace, though.
Over the $30 million for one fight.
Listen, can I tell you something? That don't mean nothing when you don't have your peace, your stability, and your balance. We don't even want it. You want to give it to somebody else. You need your sanity to dictate any part of life. I always tell people, God punish you by giving you everything you want. See if you can handle it.
When you came out of prison, you looked better.
He said, God punish you by giving you everything you want. See if you can handle it. Oh, man, that was good. Now, that was good. That was good. That's good. Just work.
Oh, very good afternoon, sir. My name is Sushant Kumar Kushwaha. I'm a research scholar from PHU and very much fortunate to have a time to clear my doubt from you, sir. My question is, I have lost my spark, okay? And I'm not a very much consistently motivated person. I have lost my motivation. How to regain that? To live my life and lead in a like a joyful way. So to regain your inner peace. Thank you, sir.
See, the nature of life is such, please sit down, it's okay. If you go outside in the garden and try to catch an ant, the BHU ant, who is born here, who's grown up here and probably he'll die here, that BHU ant, if you try to catch him, he'll say, okay, to hell with my life, okay, crush me if you want. Is it so? He'll do everything to protect himself. He values his life, isn't it? Very much or no? Tiny little creature that we may not even notice, we may step on him without even seeing him, unfortunately. But he values his life immensely. Does he or no? He's got spark. But you, a human being, at least on this planet, you're the peak of evolution, physiologically at least. Yes? If other behavioral aspects, if we may have questions.
Right.
But physiologically at least, the most evolved creature on the planet. What the most evolved creature on the planet means is, it has the most complex neurological system and it has the highest level of cerebral capability. That means you can think, you can remember, you have memory. You have a very vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. An ant doesn't have such a vivid sense of memory, nor does he have any great imagination. He has some. But he has a presence of mind about the life that he is living.
That's powerful.
Because the education systems that you're going through right from kindergarten level is such that it is about everything except you. It's about everything else. Somebody is PhD in tourism, somebody is PhD in biotechnology, somebody is PhD in something. Nothing about this. How does this function? There is no attention at all. A human being functions. You know, you have a Kala Bhairava temple here. What this means is, a human being exists in 3 times. He lives because of the richness of his memory. How rich is your memory determines what you will do and what you will not do right now, isn't it so? So memory is important, the present experience is important, and how vivid is your imagination for tomorrow is very important. Right now the problem is, these things have all gotten mixed up because discipline of faculty has simply not come. Nothing has been taught to our children that there needs to be… Discipline means people think English kind of discipline, walking like this like idiots. Discipline of faculty is not there. Because of this, your own mind turns against you. What happened 10 years ago, you still suffer? Hello? What may happen day after tomorrow, you already suffer? Because there's no discipline of faculty. You don't know how to use your memory, you don't know how to use your imagination. Your memory makes you suffer, your imagination makes you suffer, and you think you're suffering your life. You are not suffering your life, you are only suffering the 2 greatest faculties of being human, vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination, isn't it so? If you suffer the greatest faculties that you have, what can we do with you? If you suffer an ailment, understandable. If you suffer a disability, understandable. If you suffer your ability, hopeless case. Yes or no? You're suffering your capabilities. If you're suffering your disability, it's all right. You're suffering your capabilities. I must tell you this, about 4–5 months ago, I think, you might have seen it on the news, a young lady, 34-year-old lady, who was a television anchor in Hyderabad, jumped off the 5th floor window, killed herself, left a note, "Nobody is responsible for my death, my brain is my enemy." How many million years it took to get this brain to this size, and now it becomes your enemy? She articulated this, but this is true with almost 90% of the human beings. They are suffering their own intelligence, isn't it? If you take away half their brain…
At Fiverr, we offer 3D rendering services. But you probably already…
If you take away half their brain, they will be peaceful. Yes. And that is why a whole bunch of idiots are going about saying that the ultimate goal of life is peace of mind. Such people will only rest in peace. Now you, young man, university life, if somebody is not keying you up all the time, it could become too easy, you know. Even I remember, when I went to the university, most of the time we were in the canteen or in the garden. The easiest part of my life was university. I think… I know nobody's going to like it but I think this university time must be shortened unless somebody is producing something brilliant. They must be chucked out within 3 to 4 years' time, everybody. If they're doing something very focused and very intense, they must stay. Otherwise, see, this is all I'm telling all of you young people. Do whatever the hell you want in your life, but you must be intensely focused on something. If you're not investing in anything, your life, it will just go waste. Because as I told you in the very beginning, one basic ingredient of your life is time, and this is just going away. Already on something.
My boy.
If you're not investing in anything, your life, it will just go waste. Because as I told you in the very beginning, one basic ingredient of your life is time, and this is just going away. Already you're 2 hours closer to your grave since I came here. Yes or no? Yeah. 2 hours closer to Manikarnika. Yes or no? Yes. You are not immortal. It's just a limited amount of time. Are you a precious life? I'm asking. Is your life precious to you?
Yes, sir.
Then you must decide where you want to invest this life. If this is precious, if this is worthless, throw it somewhere. If this is precious, invest in something worthwhile, isn't it? So if you invest this in something worthwhile, not spark, you will be a flame all the time.
All the time, right. I need to hear something.
Picture this. It's Sunday night. You're dreading Monday morning. Your overflowing inbox, growing to-do list.
A lot of people, they don't have enough control. They don't have enough energy in their minds. We go back to control themselves to sit for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. You're talking about any more than that, a person rather kill themselves. They don't have that control. That electricity gives you control to be like, oh, your mind is going everywhere else but being here. And I do it to observe my thoughts. You know what I mean? I want to sit there and observe my thoughts. You know what I mean? So instead of trying to control my thoughts, I allow them to function. You know what I mean? I become a conscious observer of self, a subconscious observer of self, because the thought is disconnected from, the observer is disconnected from the actual thought. Like you thinking and then you thinking of the thought that you're thinking of, like who's all of that. So I look at it just, you know, I'm the observer of thought. And so also it's more so the observer of the frequency, because every thought is just, you know, a wave pattern, you know what I mean? Of the rhythmatic frequency. And so for me, it allows me to control myself and store up the energy to control the rest of my day. So I'm never being driven by my feelings. So if something makes me mad, I get to just observe that frequency and be like, oh, that's making you mad, huh? You want to act off that frequency and that feeling and then let it control your drive and will. Instead, I get to say, nah, yeah, that's making me mad, but I don't want to act off of it. I don't want that to control me. So I'm storing up that energy, and then I'm also, you know, meditating over what's the purpose of my day to guide me throughout the day. Many different things.
All right. One more. We'll do one more.
Keys, I'm going to say, because I feel like, especially in coming into education, when we write down lists, it actually becomes easier for us to see them and we can actually execute on them. And we had a high-level conversation the other day, and it was funny because you never know where inspiration is going to come from. I was like, yo, Keys, man, I got this brilliant idea. And you looked at me and said, yeah, you got it from me. I said, how you know I got it from you? Because I said it before. Even subconsciously, you might have heard it. I said, damn, this brother's smart. But let's talk about it, because this is bigger than business, but these are like life principles. And so you got this theory of ease. And so let's break this down, because I know everybody's writing. That was great 8 apps that Shai just gave. Let's continue with writing. Let's start with education and how, from a business standpoint, that could be valuable, and obviously from a life standpoint.
Well, it goes towards growth, right? Education is what you learn. You understand me? And so what you learn will dictate what you can do. So when you talked about that model of effectiveness, he told you what he uses. But the game is, now that you now have the knowledge, you need the access. The access is not just what it is, but how to use it, right? So the education would be, okay, Shad, I just heard you say that you built a multi-million-dollar company with 8 apps. Can you give me the game? Because otherwise, the time that it's going to take for me to learn it is going to be wild. Except when you can give me the game, and if I can pay you to give me the game, now you're just giving me access. The people with the most access today wins. So having the right coach, having the right mentor, having the right teacher, it's no longer about just taking a course, right? It's now about having a coach. Because everybody have all this access to information, but some people are using it better because they have better access. So now everybody got social media, but some people giving them the game on how to create a media company in a business. So for me, the education is also learning how to learn, right? See, low level, well, most people think that low level means something bad. It doesn't. Low levels is just the details. So we have different type of learners. Most people cannot grasp onto the details because they don't understand the high level, which is the concept. So when you're learning anything new, you have to say, do I understand the high level first? If you do that, now you have a foundation to build on in your brain. So when we're learning, we go through this process of unlocking and relocking, because I got the keys, right?
19 of them.
Now,
I took two things that I love, dancing and dogs, and I made them into a successful business.
when we reprogram it, we unlock it. So literally, neurons in our brains detach from each other. New information, new perceptions, new ideas get built into that neuron, then it relocks in. So we're so afraid of change, right? Because we want to stay the same. We feel like we're missing a piece of ourselves, but replace the word change with growth. Replace the word change with evolution, right? Because then people won't be afraid of upgrading, won't be afraid of updating. So for me, education is the most important, because when I look across the spectrum of how all people build their wealth, it's based on what they know.
Yeah, so the first power principle was education. Let's go to the next one, exposure.
Exposure. Exposure is how vast your mind will actually be, right? Once you are exposed to something and your mind continues to grow, it will never collapse again. See, the universe expands at the rate which light are reaching areas that it never reached before. So that means that when the universe is getting expanded, it's based on light reaching new places. The same thing that happened in your mind. Once you gain enlightenment, now your brain has been sparked in new ways. Now it cannot be closed again. Now you've seen 3 black men on stage with the most dapperest attire on this planet Earth teaching about financial education. You've been exposed to something that will change the foundation of your reality that you walk on every single day. So now that you've seen that, you can't go back to the streets. You can't go back to the hood. You can't just go back to your apartment and not want more for yourself. See, in America, they give us the American dream, so we never comfortable with what we have. But what is the United Kingdom vision? See, vision gives you direction. But without vision, you don't know where you're going. You are blind. So you must be exposed to things outside this land, and the most beautiful thing social media did is it exposed us to brilliant minds, education, perspective, and people that normally would have not gotten that opportunity.
Yeah. Let's give them 2 more. Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence is how you deal with life. You know, I just learned that I'm a violent communicator. I know y'all probably wouldn't believe that. But violent communication goes to the theory that subconsciously we speak from a war mind to be either offensive or defensive. So I notice when I send things in short form, it lacks empathy, right? Because now a person can't properly understand me. The beauty about high-level conversations is it makes it very hard to be misunderstood because I got out the full context of my point. So when we're talking about emotional intelligence, the thing about men lack emotional experience. Women grow up dealing with their emotions more than men. So when that is the reason that they mature at a faster rate than men, right? See, women are more equipped to deal with the low-level details. Men are more of the high-level concepts. So when we look at the difference between the type of jobs that men and women go, it's based on their emotional intelligence. So you as a man, when you learn how to deal with the spirit of yourself, then you can deal with your woman correctly, right? The problem is we get angry because we don't know how to identify the feeling. Have you been, are you jealous? Is this a jealous NGG that you putting out? Jealousy is when you see somebody have something and you don't want them to have it. You want it for yourself. Envy is when you don't want them to have it, but you want it as well, right? And sometimes you don't know when you're being jealous or envious of your brother or your sister. But see, that emotional intelligence allows you to identify those factors and those flaws and bring them to light. Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said when children start to experiment with sex, they do it in the dark. Because even a child has the innate nature that that is wrong, so they don't do it in the light. So when we work on our shadow selves, and that's dealing with who you really are, who you don't show the world, that if they seen this, would they still love me? But when you have the emotional intelligence to identify that and you act in a fearless manner, because courage is acting in the face of fear, not in the absence of it. So people ask me all the time, how do I become fearless? You have to act even when that feeling starts to creep up on you and try to stop you. That to me is divine emotional intelligence, not being afraid of your shadow self.
Yeah. Woo. Y'all gonna learn today.
That's my boy.
I think the last one is most important, and it's something that has been a catchphrase of ours from the beginning. Information is going to be on us. Execution is going to be on you. So everybody in this room tonight is getting the information, but talk about the power of execution.
Y'all ever heard the story of the first procrastinators in history? So listen, this is what happened, right? It was one day these two brothers, they was working. They chopping up bricks for the pyramids. And they've been doing this work every single day, right? They don't take no breaks. They get the work done for the day, then they go home. And then one day, this brother, he had this team he was trying to see. So he said, how about this brother, he had this team he was trying to see. So he said, how about we do this later?
Hey, what's up, Zanita 67?
He said, let's do this tomorrow. He said, what is later and what's tomorrow? Because they didn't have no concept of it. It was always now and next. See, a baby concept of time is always now and next. We don't learn later till we get older. So what happened was, he said later, man, so you mean that this is a time we don't have to do it now? He said, that sounds good. So they both decided to do it later. Now, from their lineage, they created the ancestry of laziness and procrastination. Now, this is some people's ancestors in here. Some of you all waited last minute to get your ticket to come to InvestFest.
That's a
because
fact.
the science of procrastination is when you have pain in the mind and it stops you from moving forward. So I don't feel like doing it, so I'll do it later. And later never comes, so you never get it done. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to do now, because it says be and it is, not be and maybe later. See, we used to be a be and it is type of people. Any thought that I get, see, sometimes they time sensitive. See, sometimes that idea can be done at the wrong time and then it's failure, but the right idea at the right time always equals success. So you have to know that procrastination is the abortion clinic of ideas. But the most painful part of the pregnancy is when a woman is pregnant.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So you have to know that procrastination is the abortion clinic of ideas. But the most painful part of the pregnancy is when a woman is pushing, and it's that crowning phase. Sometimes they got to put her under. Sometimes they got to do a C-section. But if you push through the pain, then you give birth to every idea that you have.
Ever had. That's my guy. Yes, sir. Let's work. Let's work.
To be.
Yes, sir. We get a couple more of these in real quick. All right. So. All right. So. Let's just get some quick thoughts on this real quick. I typed in fix mental disease. Let's go.
Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to our channel.
See what Psych2Go
It's your outpour of love and support that drives this channel's mission to spread awareness about mental health and psychology. You help us make psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone, so thanks for that. Now, let's begin the video. Do you sense your mental health is declining? Are you not feeling as cheery or motivated as you once were? Well, guess what? You've come to the right place. We at Psych2Go are about to give you 4 valuable tips to help you improve your mental health to be the best it can be. We're in this together. Number 1, make yourself a priority. Are you often too busy or too tired to relax and do something you actually enjoy? You may be studying or working too hard, or perhaps you don't stop and take notice of what your body needs. Have you had a calm moment to simply breathe and wind down? Did you eat too little today? Did you get enough water? You didn't, did you? You sneaky little Psych2Goer. You may not care about yourself enough to get a good 8 glasses a day, but we here at Psych2Go, we care about you. Neglecting self-care is detrimental to our mental health. Research has shown that what we eat affects not only our mood, but how we think as well. And if you don't eat enough, odds are you aren't going to feel great. Exercise and enough sleep are also vital to our health. So, if you're watching this late at night on your phone, hear these tips and then call it a night. Your mental health will thank you tomorrow, I promise. Number 2, create positive thoughts. Are you aware of your thoughts? You may say, of course I know what I'm thinking. But less often do we actually stop to consider what it is we're thinking, what we're saying to ourselves, and if it's something we'd say to others. Think about it. Are your thoughts more often positive or negative? According to a new 2020 study from psychologists at Queen's University, published in the journal Nature Communications, the average human has around 6,200 thoughts per day. In another study published in the National Science Foundation, it was found that of the thousands of thoughts each individual has per day, 80% were negative, and 95% were the exact same repetitive thoughts as the previous day. So, we repeat a lot of negative thoughts. But this next study will really put things into perspective for you. In another study from Cornell University, scientists found that 85% of what we worry about never happens. Not only that, 79% of the subjects found that either they could handle the difficulty better than they thought, or that the difficulty taught them a lesson they felt was worth it. So this is my advice to you. Stop, breathe, and think about what you're thinking about. Is it positive? Is it healthy? More importantly, is it something you would say to a friend who is worried too and looking for comfort? It's always best to treat ourselves like I was worried too.
That last one is the most important to me, to be honest. Listen.
And looking for comfort. It's all something. Is it positive? Is it healthy? More importantly, is it something you would say to a friend who is worried too and looking for comfort?
Right. Would you talk to yourself like that? Would you give yourself that same comfort that you would give to a friend, or would you be like, man, you better suck it up because I know you better than that?
It's always best to treat ourselves like our best friend. Be there to comfort yourself with positive thoughts. And when in doubt with a worry, try to ask yourself, is this worry productive? Am I making this more difficult than it has to be? Number 3, say what you feel. Guess what? There's a writer here inside your screen, and she's writing to tell you it's late and she's tired. But she's feeling better now, and she wanted me to let you know. She's keying you into a little psychology secret. Expressing how you feel makes you feel better. A brain imaging study by psychologists at UCLA revealed that verbalizing our feelings makes our sadness, anger, and pain less intense. When we see a photograph of a fearful or angry face, we have increased activity in a region of our brain called the amygdala. This serves as a warning of danger in our brain. In the study, researchers used functional magnetic resonance imaging to study subjects' brain activity. Researchers had 30 subjects view photos of individuals making different emotional expressions. Below each photo were the words angry or fearful. Subjects then had to choose which word to assign to each face. Some subjects were instead given 2 names below the photo, Harry and Sally, and had to assign gender-appropriate names to the photos. Researchers found a decreased response in the amygdala when the words angry and fearful were expressed by assigning them. They did not see the reduction in the amygdala response when using the words Harry and Sally. Meaning, if you put your feelings into words, you feel better. While the amygdala was less active when subjects labeled a feeling, the right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex was more active. And it makes sense why this region of the brain has been associated with thinking in words about emotional experiences. So if you want to better your mental health, try talking to a friend or psychologist about your feelings, or write them in a journal. Just the act of writing in words about how you feel can have positive and powerful effects. Number 4, be compassionate to others. A little compassion can go a long way. Wouldn't you want someone to show you a little love and kindness? And I bet when you treat someone with kindness or do someone a favor, you often feel a little bit better too, don't you? Well, there's research to support this. According to research from psychologists Ed Diener and Martin Seligman, altruism can lead to improved mental and physical health, as well as speed up recovery from disease. And brain imaging research from Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA has found that providing support for others may have unique positive effects on key brain areas involved in stress and reward responses. So if research shows that a little compassion and support can predict decreased stress response in the brain and improve mental health, what are you waiting for? Odds are you've been considering helping out others in some way. Now's your chance. Reach out to a family member or old friend who could use some support. Donate to a charity or volunteer with an organization you care about. I'm sure they'd love the support as much as you. After all, what a better way to lift yourself up than to lift someone else's spirits up in the process. So, will you use these tips? Did you find them helpful? Are you going to drink more water?
I might.
I'm watching you, Psych2Goers. Will you express your feelings into words down in the comment section below? We're here to listen because we care about you and want to hear you out. After all, your mental health may just thank you. If you find it hard to manage your life and suspect you might be suffering from an undiagnosed mental illness, we encourage you to seek professional help. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button and share this video with someone whose mental health could use it. Subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification bell icon for more content like
I already subscribed. All right, let's get another one. I thought I put fix. There we go.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every week. Done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor. Fresh, never frozen meals.
Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to our channel. Have you ever wondered what healthy habits you should add to your list of to-dos? We all should give enough time and attention to our mental health, and what better way than to adopt some new healthy habits along the way? If you keep it a habit, sooner or later, it can feel like a part of you. So the healthier the better. Here are 8 healthy habits to improve your mental well-being. Number 1, adopting an upright posture. Attention! It's time to stretch out those muscles and stand like you mean it. According to a study in the Journal of Behavior Therapy and Experimental Psychiatry, upright posture can have a positive effect and reduce fatigue. The preliminary study's conclusions suggested that adopting an upright posture may increase positive effect, reduce fatigue, and decrease self-focus in people with mild to moderate depression. Are you hunched over your phone right now? Computer? How's that posture looking? Number 2, practice positive thinking. Research continues to show that your thoughts about yourself strongly affect how you feel. The best way to change any negative feelings you may have is to counteract them with a positive one. According to psychologist Patricia Hartnett, when we perceive ourselves and our life negatively, we can end up viewing experiences in a way that confirms that notion. Instead, practice using words that promote feelings of self-worth and personal power. So instead of saying, "I was horrible at my math test," use positive words and self-compassion, like, "I'll study harder next time, and then I'll do better on the next test." Number 3, take a walk in nature. My favorite. Nature. Is there anything quite like the green grass between your toes? The blue skies above your head. The warm sun burning your nose. Forgot the sunscreen. A simple walk in nature can have the ability to boost your mental well-being, according to research published in the Journal of Positive Psychology. A 2019 study from Canadian researchers found that merely 5 minutes of contact with the natural world improves mood, human health, self-esteem, and general emotional well-being. According to the research study, results indicated that brief nature contact reliably improves both hedonic and self-transcendent emotions. Time for a nice walk in the park with your dog. Of course, don't forget to bring the sunscreen this time. Number 4, hug someone. Sometimes we just need a hug. Maybe that's what your parents once told you. And sometimes they're right. According to findings from a 2011 study conducted by UCLA, oxytocin's receptor gene is linked to self-esteem and optimism. Oxytocin is often known as a cuddle hormone. So I'm sure you can guess what releases oxytocin. Hugging, along with kissing, snuggling, and physical touches. Hugging is a great way to release that hormone and perhaps increase your self-esteem and optimism in the process. According to the study, life scientists identified for the first time a particular gene's linked to optimism, self-esteem, and mastery, the belief that one has control over one's own life. 3 critical psychological resources for coping well with stress and depression. Sounds like a good hug is sure to give a boost to your mental well-being. Number 5, spend time with your furry friend. Got no one to hug? How about your dog? Don't have a furry friend? Now might be a good time to get one. Need to be convinced? A 2019 research study examined the effects and cortisol levels of college students who spent 10 minutes with animal visitation programs. The student stress hormone cortisol decreased with just 10 minutes of petting cats and dogs. The research article notes a 10-minute college-based AVP providing hands-on petting of cats and dogs provides momentary stress relief. So when you go on that walk in nature, make sure to bring your furry friend with you. Number 6, exercise. Exercise is not only important for our physical health, but our mental well-being as well. Regular exercise releases endorphins, which make us happy naturally. According to an article from Mayo Clinic, exercise can release feel-good endorphins, natural cannabis-like brain chemicals, endogenous cannabinoids, and other natural brain chemicals that can enhance your sense of well-being. That dog walk in nature really will pay off. Number 7, get enough sleep. You may have heard adults need a good 8 hours of sleep each night. Well, you definitely heard right. We need a good night's rest to recharge with enough energy for the next day. Not getting your 8 hours of sleep every day has been shown to negatively affect your mental health. What makes things worse is 60 to 90% of patients with depression also have insomnia, according to the Sleep Health Foundation. So people whose emotional well-being may already be suffering are possibly causing further health problems by not being able to get their full rest. Not only do you get grumpy and groggy from not getting enough sleep, but it's not the best for your emotional well-being in the long run. And number 8, keep a gratitude journal. Expressing gratitude can work wonders for our mental well-being. Gratitude has been linked to increased happiness, mental health, and improved well-being, according to psychologist Patricia Hardeneck. Hardeneck notes that the best researched method to increase feelings of gratitude is to keep a gratitude journal or write a daily gratitude list, which means every morning before that walk, write down something you're thankful for, no matter how grand or simple. And at the end of the day, when you go to bed early for those full 8 hours, write down a few more things you appreciate before you hit the sheets, hopefully with your snuggly pet by your side.
Right.
So, will you practice some of these habits? Which one will you try out first? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button and share it with a friend. Subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification bell icon for more content like this. And as always, thanks for watching.
Appreciate you, Psych2Go. Now listen, y'all, let me talk to y'all for a second on my own tip. See if I make that shot. I did not make that shot. All right. So before we get into our motivation at the end of the show today, and I'll talk to you two guys that I'm playing one-on-one up against. But anyway, or girl, whatever. Mental health is important. Like I said, you're not going to be here without your mind. You're not going to be here without your mind. Let me say it 3 times for your mind. You're not going to be here without your mind. You're not going to be here without your mind. So make sure that you're giving some time to what they told you you shouldn't be giving some time to. Like, they be like, nah, man, you sitting down. What you doing? You thinking? Back in the day, they used to be like that. Nowadays, you're encouraged to think. So think. It's your chest of treasure. It ain't in your chest, though. It's in your head space, according to science and all of that. Let me see if I can win this game, too. Anyway. Oh, switched it. Your ball. All right, anyway. Like I was saying, take your health inside of here seriously. You can sit down and you can think about stuff, and it's not that you don't have it, so you should feel some type of way. It should just be that you're thinking about it, and it's helping you get closer to it. Your thoughts are very powerful. So be healthy in your mental. That's the only way I can tell you to be. We trying to cure disease, which we keep saying it. Oh, I keep saying it over and over. Disease is just that. It's dis-ease. You ain't at ease. We ain't easing down no damn yellow brick road right now. Get that out of here. Yeah, bro, I know you probably hear me talking. I'm hosting the show right now. Let's see how you beat me. If you can beat me. Last points. I can't hear you, by the way. I'll listen to you when I'm done. When we done with the game. Oh, don't let up. You done came all this way. Oh, you got to do better than that, bro. Oh, okay. You still in it. Y'all can't see it, but I'm playing this game. Ah! And he won. Good game, my guy. What'd you say? Oh, whatever, bro. I'm doing two things at once. Good game, bro. You could leave it at good game. I'm doing 7 things at once. I could lock in. I wish I could come back around. If I come back around on you, we'll see what happened. But nah, good game, bro. Anyway, I'm going to get y'all some good motivational speech to get us up out of here for the day. And I appreciate y'all time. This has been another episode of Expansion Pack. As always, I'm your host, Dan F. Man. And let's get on to some motivation so we can get up out of here for the day. All right. Motivation for the rest of the week. Let's rock.
Just a few days ago, while explaining to one of my local training clients the reasons for working out only once every 4 to 7 days, a man in his mid-30s had apparently overheard my explanation and...
All right, y'all.
Today I'm using Upwork to hire a WordPress developer. I'm going to try using Upwork AI. It's great that you can just write a couple of sentences and they create the rest of the job description. We went from no job...
Today we gotta ghost everyone. Anyone that ever doubted us. Anyone that ever lied to us and told us that they believe in our vision. We gotta reset.
We live in a culture of busyness, distraction, and noise. Sometimes the only way something's going to change is if we disappear.
We gotta focus on the reason why we started everything. Why we woke up early in the morning to grind. Why we cried those tears. When we wanted the world to say yes, but everyone continued to say no. You see, you gotta forget about the doubters.
Can you unplug from people's ideas, from people's agendas, from people's viewpoints and perspective of you and life? Can you unplug?
Forget about the doubters that told you that you didn't have what it takes to be the greatest. You gotta reset.
What if you could just shut out every distraction? What if you could just shut out the world for just a season and focus on you? You have to disappear and put the work in and come back and shock everybody that doubted you.
You gotta understand the power of being alone. Let's go back into the darkness where all the greatness was created, where all the motivation was created. Let's get back to the beginning. Because only then will you hear the thoughts of the greats.
We celebrate athletes and we celebrate critical thinkers and innovators and actors, and we praise them and claim them our heroes, and we follow them by the millions. We love what they do in public, but you don't know the story behind the glory. You don't know the blood, the sweat. You didn't see the tears that they cried, the prayers that they prayed, the countless weeks where they went without sleep to get where they are. I'm just wondering if there's anybody here that is willing to go through the process in the dark room that prepares us and equips us for the stages of destiny.
Rise. Let's ghost everyone. You gotta get back to that child. That child that wanted to dream. That wanted to chase everything the world told him that he couldn't have. Yes, we gotta reset. We're surrounded by the noise. We're surrounded by the social media, the Instagram, all of these things that give us no fulfillment. And the reason why you feel this way is because you've been surrounded by negativity.
You've been surrounded by individuals that call themselves your friend. But in all reality, they're just another energy drainer. They're just another person that wants to tell you that you cannot accomplish your dreams because they failed at every obstacle they ever tried to defeat. Let's go back into that hole. Let's go back into the darkness. Some of the most monumental and transformational portraits and pictures that we've ever seen were developed in the dark room. I'm talking to that athlete. I'm talking to that administrator. I'm talking to that nurse, that doctor. I'm talking to that student. I'm talking to that communicator. I'm talking to that pioneer, that inventor. I'm talking to that entrepreneur. I'm talking to that preacher. I'm talking to that person who refuses to stay where they are. I'm talking to that person that doesn't have a problem laying in obscurity because you know that when you come out of the dark room, all eyes on you. Rise from that ghost state, a new man and a new woman on its journey to greatness. Why are you here? What is your destiny? I got a question. What will you do when no one is watching? What will you do when no one is listening? That's the only time that we'll be able to bring something to this world that it never seen before.
Big ideas don't come easy.
One of the greatest challenges with disappearing is understanding the revelation of building in the dark. The secret of change is to focus all of our energy, not on fighting the old, but building the new, and specifically behind closed doors when nobody's looking, when no one is there to affirm you, when nobody's there to validate you, when nobody is there to agree with you, you build in the dark and you announce it when it's finished.
Let me tell you, you're gonna fight until you can't fight no more. And when you can't fight anymore, you're gonna lay down and bleed a while. And then you're gonna get up and fight some more. Sometimes you have to fall back into the dark room and focus on you. There are too many people in your life who have left you. There are too many people in your life who have counted you out. There are too many people in your life who have whispered in your ear and said, you'll be worse off without them. Prove them wrong. There are people in your life that claim to be your friends. And honestly, they are just standing there waiting to see you fail. Yeah, you have those friends that come out to support you and tell you how great you are. But when they're driving off, leaving from the event, they're saying to themselves, I can do that better than him. Or I can do that better than her. Disappear and do the work that is required. Sometimes you gotta take a break from just about everything, disappear, come back, and shock the world. You've been surrounded by individuals that call themselves your friend. They're just another person that wants to tell you that you cannot accomplish your dreams. Are you worth my time? If you're not, it's time to unplug. Time to unplug. Time to unplug. This is the process when you have to reset and when you have to ghost everyone.
If someone gave you a simple formula on how you can live your best life, would you execute it? I'm talking about a simple, easy to execute formula that's gonna guide you right to your best life. Now, I don't know what kind of life you're living right now, but I want you to live your best life. Take out a sheet of paper, take out your phone, don't be sassy, and write down who you wanna be when you grow up. I'm talking about every life goal you got when you grow up. And that's the first step, write it down. Step number 2, look at it every single day. Every single morning, take it out and look at it, and here's why. I gotta get you focused on this. Here's the third step. Tell as many people as you can exactly what your life goals are. Don't be afraid, don't be ashamed, because what if I don't do, no. Tell as many people as you can. And trust me, if you can do this simple formula, you can live your best life. Write them down, look at them every single day, and tell as many people as you can so they can hold you accountable. And let me tell you something, I am living proof that this simple formula can lead you to your best life.
Are you ready to see your brand on TV? Your competitors will wish they had known about Vibe. With Vibe, you can launch targeted TV and streaming ad campaigns using our powerful platform that combines simplicity.
Wealthy people, first they get into stocks, then they start a business, and then they get real estate. Owning a stock is owning a percentage of a great business. The people who aren't wealthy, is because they don't own nothing. You only have your money sitting in cash. If your money is just sitting in cash, realistically, you're becoming poorer every day. The key to wealth is through ownership. At about 9 or 10, I saw my moms get shot in front of my face. My early years were surrounded with violence. I saw my mama selling drugs. I saw my mama robbing. I saw my moms get robbed. I saw her get shot, and then she later on went to prison, right? So I saw that early. At 14, my mom was in prison and I lost my grandmother, which was who I was living with at the time. 14, I'm homeless. I'm just on survival mode. Like the world, I just want to get to the next day. I want to make as much money as I can selling crack. So at 16, I go to prison for attempted murder on a robbery. But in prison, I had a fight with 2 of my homies. In prison, we fight for like 4 hours. Jeez. Back to back, I'm just fighting one after another one. Like we just fighting. And I go to solitary confinement. And at this time, all these parish prisons is considered like one of the worst parish prisons in the United States of America, right? And I go to the cell and I meet this white guy. That was the turning point of my life. He was like, man, listen, man, there's a game that's being played and you're playing a game that you can't win. For a minute, I just started thinking about the people who I knew that was in the streets. Everybody lost, everybody suffered the same fate. He has on a red and white band at the time. The red and white band means you're in federal custody. The first 3 things was he said, listen, man, wealthy people do 3 things, man. They stop trading time for money. They make their money work for them. And they give as much value to people as they can. And we got a little deeper into that. He said, the reason why you give people so much value is because if you give them so much value, they'll never leave you, they'll always be there for you, and you will never need for anything as long as you give value to people. And so I learned that as I got older. That part really didn't make sense to me at the time, but the money working for you part, and I was like, how do you make your money work for you? Again, all I know is how to go get money. That's all I know. So later on in that, he says wealthy people do 3 things. So we in the cell for about 45 days. Every conversation with him about money and transition was always wealthy people do. So he says, wealthy people, first they get into stocks, then they start a business, and then they get real estate. So when people ask me, how did I get into stocks? It's because I followed that rule. And so my rest of my time in prison, I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a part of that wealthy conversation. And so what happened to me was it started reminding me of being in the streets. Everything about it. And I heard this term one time that said, the real gangsters are on Wall Street. The real gangsters are in the government. And I was like, damn. The reason why people think wealthy people or people with money are sinister is because that's what you kind of taught in the hood. Like you kind of taught like, The people who really have money, like they did some wicked shit to get it. They did some backstabbing, cut, get it, and you'll never get that, right? And so that same mentality now happens on a lower level, right? The hustling, the dope dealing. So now you think like, yo, I gotta just do sinner shit to get money. And then the people who are successful in the drug game, they're looking at the people at the top like, damn, I wanna be that. But the people at the bottom will never get a taste of that. And so now we just kind of living off ambition. And so now the people who are in the middle who working, they're like, oh, them people with money, they all crooks. Because being at the bottom teaches you to envy people at the top. It just happens. It's something that brews down there, right? It's kind of like when you cook, I don't know if you had gumbo before, right? But it's kind of when you cook food, right? The base goes to the bottom. And so most people live in that bottom, never knowing how they'll get up there, right?
I remember, so when I was working in the inner cities, I remember having this moment where I was like, wait a second, this is not an intelligence problem. Intelligence is evenly distributed. Like I remember saying to my wife, the next Elon Musk is gonna be found somewhere in Compton. The problem is, he doesn't believe in himself. And so he's not gonna do anything. And so I became obsessed with this idea that generational poverty is not about money, it's about mindset. Now, it will manifest as money, but it is that, so I remember I had one kid come to me and I was the first person that told him, you can be successful. Like, what the, why do you not think you can be successful? It didn't even make sense to me. And he was like, well, my mom always told me that the world didn't want to see people that look like me succeed. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, even if your mom had good intentions, that is the worst advice ever, because if you think you can't be successful, that will govern the way that you move, right? So Kobe Bryant, people that have listened to me for a while have heard this quote 1,000 times, but boos don't block dunks. The world can hate you all they want, but if you're good enough, think about this, the best basketball players in the world were paid millions of dollars to stop Kobe Bryant from scoring, and the scored 81 points in a single game. 81 points. When you've got 5 people paid millions of dollars actively trying to stop you, and they can't because you've gotten that good. That to me is the game of money. People can not want you to succeed all they want, but if you out-invest them, they can't stop you. So if people are not encouraging you to read, you're not going to read.
What happens is now, no one now believes that it's possible. Once you keep passing that down, you start accepting the lower level. And then there's a few of us or a few people who say, nah, I'm an outlier, yo, like, I'm about to go for it. And then whatever happens, I'm with it. Right. You feel me? So for me, again, one of the greatest things that happened to me was my mother telling me like, the world is raw and you gotta get how you live. But I also saw my grandmother be a legal entrepreneur. So I saw it from both worlds. So while I'm in prison, I pick up a habit of reading. That was the game changer for me. On the streets, I never had the opportunity to just sit down and read because I'm always trying to survive. In prison, there was no longer a survivor mode there. I started hustling in prison. So I was working in the laundry. And so your clothes don't really get clean. So I found a hustle like, yo, I'll wash your clothes when we do it, but it's $5 or $25 a month. So that gave me a whole another set of money. And then I started being like a numbers dude. How Vegas have the numbers, the betting. I became a numbers guy. So.
All right, y'all, we up out of here for today. I'm gonna leave y'all with the rest of this talk right here, but I just had to say my peace out and whatnot. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, Fun Fridays. We made it, y'all. Peace. Get back to the video.
I used to get up in the mornings and watch CNBC. So now you people in prison, they love to watch The Young and the Restless. And so I would have to get up before them to watch like Squawk Box, Jim Cramer. And I'd be like, damn, these motherfuckers get all this money and they not risking their life. Something gotta change for me. Like something gotta change. And so I just started listening to them every day and I started comparing it to the streets. A good business is just like a good hustler. A good business has great product,